Related Disabilities, NYCPCA. And I'm also a mother of a child with autism. He's 7 years old. He's here with us tonight. When my son received his diagnosis, he was 3 years old. He received his diagnosis by 3 doctors. We want to really make sure we are heading in the right path. Ever since he's diagnosed, I have learned as much as I can, and I could and I can, in order to help him. I've learned all the interventions, the traditional interventions, speech methods, ABA, speech therapy, occupational therapy, to name a few, and applied to him. He went to school. He was full-time in school. He received services at home as well. But I was not satisfied with that alone. So I went forward and I also introduced him with non-traditional therapies. One of the ones that we used was homotoxicology that my friend Mary just spoke about. If I would talk about that alone, it would be we would stay here a long time, because I'm so thankful for Mary. She has been such a blessing in our lives, and thank to her, my son has improved so greatly. Along with that, we use biofeedback diet, what most of us know, casein and gluten-free diet, metal detoxification, and as I said, Jeremy has made great progress over the year. When autism hit home, I was really, like Eula said, shocked. I was devastated. I was ashamed. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was even angry at God for allowing that happen to my son. And the worst of all, that I thought it was my fault. I took the guilt into my heart. My son was developing quite atypically, according to his physician, up to age of 3. Right after he took his DTP and polio vaccines, things start going down, and he began to have a lot of repetitive behavior, lack of attention. He would not answer when I call him by name. And I remember before he had those shots, a friend of mine came to me and she mentioned that certain connections between developmental disabilities and vaccines. I was not very certain of that, but when my son began to have all these changes on his behavior, I questioned myself whether she was right or not. Up to today, CISA has not clarified that issue yet. I cannot say that 100% that was the case, or maybe a combination of things, or genetic. We still are to know. After a lot of and the guilt just built up when I realized that it could have been my fault that I could have stopped him from having vaccines. With a lot of prayers and seeking out to God, at some point I decided that I had 2 choices. I could sit home and cry and be depressed for the rest of my life, run away, or I could roll up my sleeves and do everything I could to help my child. And I chose the second option. And that's, to me, today is the only option for a parent who loves their child. It took a lot, it didn't take, wasn't something that didn't happen overnight. It took a lot of hard work, dedication, friendship, prayers to get to where I am today. And I know it's not finished, and I'm looking forward to see what's next. I can honestly say that I am enjoying the ride. Every time my son overcomes an obstacle, I rejoice, my family rejoices, my friends rejoices, my whole community church rejoices with us. I believe that my son's improvements are due to the interventions, therapy, but most of all, to the unconditional love that we all have for him. Because of the unconditional love that God God, in His mercy and grace, has shown to me. I also believe that every child, regardless of their ability, has a soul, and that soul must be nurtured. His soul can be tuned to God's. An article I found on New York Post on April 3rd was talking about a young girl with mild to severe autism, and that's what she said. Her quote was, "I am so uncomfortable in my body, and I don't know how to stop." Her parents for 15 years thought that she had a mind of a 4-year-old. Although she can't speak, she is there. And that speaks to me that there is a soul crying out for help. All children affected by autism should be given a chance to know there is a greater power, a creator. Stories such as this and others that I've seen and heard encourages me to do what I do. NYCPCA, it's a volunteer-based group that want to bring hope and joy to families affected by autism. We look at the child with autism with the eyes of God. We do not judge them. We welcome them and their families to be part of a loving community of hope. We love them for who they are and not for what they can or cannot do. We believe that every child, regardless of their ability, are gifts from God, and we are honored with the opportunity to serve them. When we look at autism itself, we are overwhelmed with the many challenges that we have to face every day that come attached with the diagnosis. But when we look at the child as a gift, we can see the potential in them, and we can invest in them and see the changes and see the future, not just the child there at that moment throwing a tantrum or misbehaving. We want to help families to come together and learn and become empowered to move beyond autism spectrum disorder. With this in mind, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here, to Pastor Tala and his beautiful wife, my friend Jasmine, and for Senator Peralta, who is not here, I see that, and for putting this together, and all the organizations that are coming together and bringing awareness to the community. Thank you very much.
How many here tonight have children with autism? Just raise your hand. Why don't we give each other a big hand for all the hard work that taking care of our kids, right? Right. I'll tell you a funny story. Me and my son, we walked all the way from 71st all the way to 94th. He wouldn't go the other way. He'd just keep walking that way, you know, one direction. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And so I finally got him to make a right, and we ended up in the train. We got on the train, rode on the train. We got off at 74, and he still wanted to go the other way, where I wanted to go this way, get off the train. And so we were tugging, and right in front of us were the police. So they looked at me, and I looked at them, and I looked at me again and said, no, he's my son. And they looked at me, and well, my son looks just like me. And they said, okay, take him on the bus. But it is a challenge, but we I thank God for being with us. At this time, we're going to have the School for Language and Communication Development, Christine Austin. See the comment.